What's going on? This is my video about my comic book collection. Shout out to Jock Agren. This time I'm actually wearing a shirt. So I need to say it in the comments down below. But no, it's all good. So this is my comic book shelf. As you can see, there's a fair amount of books. So we'll start it down this end with Image and the Invincible series, 1 to 20. Great sort of story. Superhero story written by Robert Kirkman, the same guy who writes the Walking Dead comics. Next to Invincible is The Walking Dead, written by Robert Kirkman. Very traditional. I'll get out. This is issue 1 of Invincible. So the idea, superheroes, family, don't matter, volume 1. Very interesting story, really cool series. As you can see how much I love it. So I bought the whole thing. Put that back in later. Next up, Walking Dead, also by Robert Kirkman. So far only up to issue 11, so getting through that. A very cool story. Zombies, if you haven't heard of it, what are you doing? Alright, next is another Image comic, Lil Depressed Boy. This is about a dude and going through his life, suffering with depression and all that sort of stuff. Really amazing story. So far only like 5 volume released, 0 to 4, so looking forward to when Steven Strebel writes more of those. Next up is 2 more Image books, which is Saga. Really amazing story. I already got the first volume of this so far. Want to keep reading it, but distracted. But yeah, really amazing art, really cool. So yeah, not bad. Next up, beside that, is Outcast, also by Robert Kirkman. And this is his, he's going full on, and he's just doing really whatever he wants. Really fucked up story about demonic possession and eating people, and yeah, it's fucked up. You need to read it. Really looking forward to that one. Next we're going to Dark Horse, and I've got, she's along, the Dragon Age comics. These are set after the second game of Dragon Age. Really cool story, even if you're not into like the video games, it's really nice story. The characters, yeah, it's really cool art. I loved it, and I loved it as a fan of the video games. It's really cool story and ideas. Next Dark Horse book is Hellboy. If you haven't heard of Hellboy, been living on a rock. This is my favorite art style ever. Absolutely love it. The black and white tones, the dark themes, and it's a very mature sort of story dealing with European folklore tales, and it's a great book. It's a really good book, and if you haven't known, it's been made into 2 movies by Guillermo del Toro, and yeah, so yeah, really good series. Only got 4 issues of that, but want to get more. Next up we have Marvel, which main book of Marvel I have is Marvel Civil War and The Road to Civil War. Won't spoil it, but favorite book, really amazing. It really shows you the limits of superheroes and what they're able to do, and what happens when superheroes don't get along and all that stuff. Really amazing book, really recommend it. Other Marvel book is The Punisher, in the beginning. Not a great fan of this book, didn't really like it, that's why I've only got 1 issue. So yeah, it's, I don't know, if you enjoy The Punisher, good for you, but I didn't enjoy it. Now we get into DC. This book, Superman, Last Son of Krypton. Really amazing Superman story. Sort of continues off the original Superman movies, I've been told. Yeah, so it's, yeah, I really enjoyed it. Different story, Superman story. Yeah, really good art style, dealing with a meaty sort of thing. No, it's, yeah, great book. Next is Dark Knight Returns, the penultimate Batman book. which has inspired like Batman for years now. Amazing. If you haven't read this, you need to read it. It's a comic book. If you haven't read this comic book, you haven't read comic books. So it's a book you need to read. After that is Watchmen. Watchmen. This is my favourite comic book of all time. Because it's not your traditional sort of comic book. It's very much the graphic novel, the story with comic book art. It's just fantastic. Really fantastic art. If you haven't seen the movie is also amazing. It was the first real... This is faithful to the story. Yeah, I love it. I love this comic book. I read it every so often. Give it to all my people to read, and it's just, yeah, it's a fantastic story. I know I'm repeating myself a lot. Written by Alan Moore. Brilliant book. Next up is... Oh yeah, let's skip these. Injustice. Gods Among Us. Based the story behind the video game. The story behind the fighting game. It's very much a non-canon superhero book, and it's just like doesn't hold anything back. It's like what you want superhero books. This is another great comic book about DC superheroes. It's like what would happen if what if there were no whole bars and there were no rules. And this is what would happen, and it's amazing, really perfect. After that we get into Vertigo, and the series you can see here that I've got 11 issues of is Fables. Fables is about fairy tale characters being stuck in New York and how they deal with issues, that sort of stuff. It goes from there and it goes to like an amazing section. It builds off other well-known tales and different things. It's really amazing art style, especially like at the end of the trade. Got those sections where they show the inspired art and different things, and that's perfect. Really perfect. So I love this series. I love this. So I've got 11 books of it. That's why. If you can see I've got a big section of it, it means I love it. And this is one of the series I love. Coming up next are these two books. Last two books are... We'll start with this one. We'll start with V for Vendetta. Haven't heard of it. Another Alan Moore, same writer as this one, Watchmen. So V for Vendetta, amazing book, amazing story, amazing art. It's just perfect. It's the second book I ever read, because you can say, oh, hey, I read Watchmen, what do I read next? V for Vendetta. Great book, great story. That's it. And lastly, but not least, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. This is like a more comic booky story, but it's also a more booky story. It's got the comic book panel sections, like this, panels and stuff, but it's also got these book sections and panels. Panel. Yeah, mainly panels, but also the occasional book section like this, like just pages, this full strange spread of just, yeah, so it's a very different style, also by Alan Moore, and it's amazing. So that and these are my comic book collection. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any recommendations for me, put it down in the comments. We're making more comic book style videos later on. So yeah, like, subscribe, share, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.